Hi guys, I'm new here. My name's Caitlin. We recently moved to a 2-acre lot. We used to live on a 1.7 acre, but I was gardening then, and I figured why not record my gardening journey in this new house. So different soil, different everything. I have no raised beds. I have nothing. It was just grass for 2 acres. So we moved in last September. We've made our little chicken coop here with our goats. This is Daphne. We got some girls behind us. That's Leah. This is Hank. And this is our little story on gardening. Here we go. We're doing something different this year. Mom says potatoes and mounds is the way to go. So that's what we're doing. Potatoes and mounds. And I figured, why not do onions and mounds too? Ignore my messy hair, ignore my paint shirt. We're doing gardening today. So this is just your basic onion yellow Struder garter from Tractor Supply. See how it does. I'm gonna cover my mounds with compost and nursery mix, just like I did my potatoes. And the potatoes that I planted here were Minnesota certified seed potatoes, Purple Majesty is what I planted. And then I also planted some Yukon Golds. So those are my favorite. We'll just see how the Purple Majesty does in our location here. All right, I'm gonna cover up the rows with compost and nursery mix. Okay, so I don't know if you can tell, but the nursery mix compost combination, so like this is the nursery mix. It's a little more wood chippy, a little more, not as like, I don't know how to describe it, maybe like sifted as what this is. And this is the compost mix from our local place. So there's like a compost mix and a nursery mix. I just did what felt right when I was wheelbarrowing it into the wheelbarrow and like putting it on the rows. So I did a couple scoops of compost, a couple scoops of nursery mix, put it on the rows. The idea behind the mounds is that, like, obviously I have an electric tiller, as you can see. It doesn't get as deep down into the soil, so my thought was, okay, if I put them in mounds like Mom told me to, they would have more space and more like a deeper way to go without me having to invest in another tiller. One of my goals this year is to be just a little more cost effective. Like, gardening is a hobby of mine, and I really would like to save money by growing my own food. We did that at the last house. We did a pretty good job during the summer months. So my goal this year is to first use more of the year. So I want to utilize my colder seasons, because being in zone 8A, I have access to warmer weather earlier in the year and warmer weather later in the year. So why not space out my growing season? Whereas before I was like planting my potatoes midsummer, they would give me a couple potatoes and call it quits. So that's the idea this year. February, planting my potatoes, planting my onions. If we get a cold snap, I can cover them. That's no big deal. But that's one of my goals this year. Reduce costs at the grocery store and reduce costs in my gardening. I want it to be simple. I want to do what feels right to me, even though it may not be textbook. I don't claim to know everything, but I'm just sharing my journey. Here we go. Okay, now because I'm slightly concerned that my mounds will dry out, we bought a nursery mix one year. I think it was just a topsoil combination that from my nursery, and we used it as topsoil, didn't mulch it, didn't do anything, and it dried out really bad, clumped terribly. So I don't want that to happen this year. It was really hard for my onions to grow in it, and my idea for this year, again, going with my goals, I want to use very little things, small amounts of money to get this going, and utilize like my waste. So we have barnyard animals, and I thought, why not use the alfalfa that we feed our goats as mulch. I don't know if you guys know, but as soon as your goat's food hits the ground, they don't want it. So here we are with a ton of alfalfa all over the ground right here. It's obviously pretty dry, so I think, and it's pretty like chopped up, so it'll act as like a straw. A lot of people say don't use straw in your gardens, and I've done some research. I kind of used to agree, but I've done some research now and a lot of it said that the straw that you can buy at like say Tractor Supply or any other like big box store that sells animal bedding has the heads of the wheat on it, which can cause some issues with seeding, and also it's got a lot of pesticides, and it's not as finely chopped, which makes it difficult for like with matting issues in your garden. So this seems really chopped up. They've been walking on it. The chickens have been scratching at it for all winter, most of the summer last year. So I thought I would just get my pitchfork and pick some of it up, and just ignore my husband's little whatever that is, I guess, so the goats can better get to the alfalfa in their trash can. Pick some of it up, put it on the mounds as mulch, and see how that treats my potatoes. So here we go. Okay, so I'm slightly worried that my water won't penetrate the straw or alfalfa, whatever I scooped out of the goat pen. So I'm gonna water my mounds first, just to see how it goes. I want my stuff to be watered in, but I don't want to risk, it's supposed to be really warm today in the 70s, so I don't want to risk it not getting any water through the mulch bedding. So I'm gonna water first, then put my mulch bedding down. My husband's gonna kill me for recording this all out of order. I have ADHD. I did it. I'm done. 2 things I learned. Put your pitchfork just flat down. Don't drop it while it's sitting up. You're gonna step on it, okay? And I had something in my shoe for like 40 minutes. Like, Jesus. All right, let me show you what's been done. I put some leaves on this bed as mulch. It's a very light layer. And we'll see how that works out. Carrots and lettuce here, so we'll see. And then we got our straw. I genuinely did not think I would get this much out of the goat pen, but there's my mounds, there's my straw, potatoes, onions. We're done. We did it. I'm done. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Don't mind my crazy hair or my chapped lips.